Welcome back to another episode of Co-Courtside. Today I'm here with Beau Estes, widely known as the goatmentator, the iconic voice behind NBA.com. How you doing today, Beau?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me on. It's funny when I hear, wherever I get introduced anywhere in the world, it's that goatmentator top 10 thing, and it's just a wild thing to have happened in your life. But I'm not mad at it. I love it. I mean, I'm thrilled about it. So you just never think something like that's going to happen for you, and it did. So I feel very lucky.
Yeah, I mean it's quite the nickname. I love to have one like that, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
uh
it's not bad.
because I know you interviewed John Hardaway before this, so I asked him for advice, and he said number one thing is introduce him as goatmentator. So why not?
I'll get
Maybe
John for
like that
this. I'll
one.
get him for this.
But all was good post Summer League, just getting some rest. I knew you were working hard over there in Vegas. It
Boy,
was
you know it. Summer League and Sports Business Classroom is a tremendous undertaking. It's a passion project for those of us that are involved in it. It's not about the money that we make or anything like that. It's about who we can impact and how we can propel young careers forward. But it is up at 6 in the morning, and you're done at about 1 a.m. And then you fall asleep as quickly as you can. You turn around and you do it right back again. And the weird thing I'll tell you is that when I look back on it, I can't really tell you what I did during the day. I mean, I know what I did, but it's just such a hectic. You're just pedaling as fast as you can and putting out fire after fire after fire after fire. That at the end of the day, you're just sort of like, well, I know I was busy, and I know it turned out good, and that's about all you can do. But it's a labor of love, and we love doing it at Summer League, and hopefully one day we'll get to do it even
right.
more in different places in different forums.
No, I mean you kind of touched on it there. I could clearly tell, at least for you, is truly out of love and the passion you have for it because you had a lot of students to deal with, one, and two, I mean, you had me come up to you like some of the days at Summer League. Oh, I want to be on screen. I want to broadcast the games, and you could have easily been like, oh, it's another kid, but you actually listened to me, and I saw that with other students too. Like you really truly cared about it, and I mean that, like, and that goes a long way.
Well, thank you. I hope that comes across. If everything else fails, if all the other stuff that we try to do doesn't come through, as long as we can just really attentively listen to students and try to help them move their career in the direction that they want to go, expertly and with the contacts that we have, and the education tools that we offer. I think that that's the job. That's the main job, and that's at the heart of everything, Alex. Honestly, and if we can just keep pushing that, I think we're doing a good job.
100%. And I mean, at the NBA Summer League too, the students love it. It was the opportunity they had was amazing. Um,
Yeah,
I want to talk about, I guess, your career and startup. Correct me if I'm wrong. You started at NBA TV and Turner at 1994. Was that just
yeah, yeah.
your
So it's
passion for
weird, man.
sports? Yeah.
I was still in college at that point, man. But if you remember and you think about it, I was very, very, very lucky. And luck has a big part of, a lot of successful stories. But in 1994, I'm an upperclassman in college, studying media and broadcasting and journalism. And what's coming to town? The 1996 Atlanta Olympics. So they're really giving us intensive training. And there's going to be jobs for all of us coming out of college right there at the Olympics. And what typically happens is the Paralympics follows right after the Olympics. So you've got 2 months of solid work, and a couple of things. They pay you really well, and then on top of that, you work with these fantastic, talented people. It's sort of like a summer league, but longer. And so it was just an invaluable experience for me to be able to be working in that direction. And so the reason I started at Turner in 1994 is I'm sitting there and I'm interning and doing whatever I can going through this. It was called the Hope Broadcast Training Program. And while in school, I met a producer named John Dahl, who went on to become sort of the head of all the ESPN 30 for 30 projects. And John was producing a PBS show at the time. And I'm a big North Carolina basketball fan. And I just, we're getting a tour and we walk in the back of the room and he sees me in a North Carolina basketball shirt. And he asks if I can help out for a little bit. I help out. He likes me. He invites me to intern at his other job. He's a producer for CNN Sports College Basketball Show. So I get there and I'm working there as an intern. And, a couple days in, I hear the word that, hey, if you call over to Turner Sports, they want loggers for NBA games. So I called over to Turner Sports and I immediately just jumped right in. And what's funny is the guy that was sitting at the logging station next to me at CNN Sports is a guy named Jeremy Levin. And Jeremy went on to become the producer of Inside the NBA. So the two of us sitting right there just had a little bit of impetus in that moment, took that chance, and our careers were launched. It was incredible.
So that goes a lot, just kind of taking any opportunity you get. I like working at the Olympics is amazing, but just having that yes mentality, right? Just any opportunity.
Well, that's exactly what you did at Summer League, if you think about it. You wanted to get in front of a microphone. What I needed was somebody to run the play-by-play station for our students at Sports Business Classroom. But with the exchange and people come to the studio and people doing everything else, there was a need for somebody else to be on the mic at the play-by-play station. So now all of a sudden, you seizing that moment, you get in front of the mic, and now you've got tape as a broadcaster. And it's just, and it doesn't always work out the same. Not everybody's going to be as just blindly lucky as I was, but it's taking those chances and that repeated process of taking those chances and saying yes and jumping in with both feet that I think is a key to success. Look, the business is way different now than when I got in nearly 30 years ago. So it's a different approach. But I think the thing is, some of those same principles still apply. Hard work, positive attitude, certainly talent. Those went out at the end of the day, no matter how many twists and turns our business takes.
Right. And I want to talk, I was trying to bring that up later, about how the business has changed, social media, obviously. Yeah. I guess the top 10 highlights is a great example of that, how just the highlights evolved over time, right? Because back then, I guess you could go on Sports Center, you say, maybe find a couple of highlights of 96 Bulls or something, but now you get it right to your screen directly, and you're right in the midst of that, right?
Well, you're right. And, I think, whatever success I've had is in some part due to my adaptability and my understanding of the numbers and the fact that, hey, you've got to take internet-based content and social media very seriously. I for a while I was sort of doing both things. I was at Turner Sports and at Fox Sports South. And I was on air at Fox Sports South hosting and doing like ACC magazine programming and SEC magazine programming, and was a reporter for that. And Turner came to me and wanted me to host NASCAR. Now, I don't know the first thing about NASCAR when they approached me about this. I don't know. And I know who Richard Petty was. That's about it. But I realized that this was the future. And so in doing that, I did that, and I did the PGA Championship. I was the play-by-play voice for that for several years. And it's just taking that chance and that leap of faith and saying yes and giving it all you got. And look, we made some big mistakes. We really did, because nobody knew what we were doing back then. And internet broadcast wasn't nearly the quality of a network broadcast. Now you can hardly tell the difference anymore. There are people out there doing such a good job, but I just think I took a chance on that, and it paid off. And then like you mentioned with the top 10, social media gets involved, YouTube gets involved, Reddit gets involved. And for whatever reason, they like my ridiculous calls on these NBA top 10 highlights, and it goes viral. And people like Deadspin are picking it up. I did like a tribute to David Bowie and one to George Michael on the nights that they died, where I included like song titles in the way that I would describe a play. And so people get all over this. And here's what I would say. It's good for me, but also it's good for the league. It's good for the league for people to pay attention to this content. Look, I went to Summer League this year, and players are coming up to me and talking to me about the way that I call their plays, and I'm like, geez, it's a weird full circle moment, but it's great. It's great that they are paying attention to what we're doing, and it's not just me, man. I'm the voice and the guy who does all the silly calls, but there's a lot of people, which in turn means a lot of jobs that go into making all this stuff happen. It's not a one-man show for sure.
Well, I saw you meeting room D in Summer League. I got the opportunity to see it live and up close. Beau Estes actually doing a top 10 highlights of Summer League.
Did I really? I forgot all about it, but I believe you. Like I said, Summer League's a blur, man. I don't even remember it.
Exactly. You said it was a blur for you, so that proves it. The whole Summer League.
What did I do? Was it okay? Tell me it was okay at least.
Oh, it was. The whole room went silent and then gave you a big round of applause after. But it was cool to see. I'm not gonna lie, man, because it's not easy because you have to do it quick. You have to be to the point. It's like rapid fire in a way, right?
Well, I think it's probably fair to say that nobody on planet Earth has called more NBA top 10s than me, for sure. And there's probably nobody that's called as many NBA highlights as I have. So, if anybody understands the rhythm and cadence of those highlights, it's probably me. And to take it back a little bit further, where I started out at Turner was in the highlight room, making those highlights and then being the supervisor of that highlight room. So I understand the process intimately. I understand it from A to Z and everything in between. So I think that all of that, I say all that to say, I've got a built-in advantage. I understand the way that stuff works. I really do.
Well, I mean, that's because of how you built it up and got it to where it was today, but that's credit to you.
Thank you.
But the wordplay and the phrases and the rhyming, is that you talked about a little adding, David Bowie and George Michael. Is that all you?
Yeah.
That's just
it's 100% me. There's nobody who has ever come up with anything that I don't think anybody's ever come up with anything. So whether if you hate it, it's all my fault. If you like it, it's all me. But yeah, it's basically I view it this way, Alex, is like there's a lot of analysis out there. There's a lot of advanced stats. There's a lot of scouting. All that stuff's great. It really is. My job is to give you a scoop of basketball ice cream at the end of the night, pure joy at the end of the night for everybody to smile about and really enjoy. This is the absolute sugar of the night, and I want to deliver it as such. I don't want to be straight. I don't want to be serious. Look at his shin angle on this move and blah, blah. Who gives a crap? I want it to be fun. So that is the way I view that job. And so the wordplay and the rhyming, I think I probably have a brain malfunction because it comes across in my everyday life too. But yeah, I just think that, there was an article in the Kenyon Literary Review where a guy, this is like an esteemed literary review, and they reviewed my stupid top 10s, which I was befuddled by, but also thankful for. But the guy said he thinks I have something called clanging, where it's like a malfunction in your brain where everything rhymes in your head, and you almost have to work to make it not rhyme. And so I don't know that I have it. I've never been properly diagnosed, but I could see where that could really be true. I could definitely see where that would really be true. And my wife can attest because she gets real annoyed by it too.
You're just rhyming everywhere in the middle of the day.
Oh, yeah. As long as it's not like, it's time for the missus to do the dishes or something like that, we're okay. I mean, we don't need anything like that in our house. But, she just, she's got a lot of patience dealing with me. A lot of patience. So I'm thankful for that.
No, that's awesome. Are you already have some thoughts about the upcoming rookies? Maybe like Wemby or something. You got to come up. Is that already?
Yeah. I do. And like, I'll tell you the truth. There are things that I will come across in my daily life that I'll see something and I'll think, oh, I got to work that in. I've got to work that in somehow, some way. And so I do, and like I'll know, there's a lot of times where the rhyme will come off the player's name, but sometimes the rhyme will come off of something else, and it doesn't necessarily need to be the player's name. But I don't think I wrote down a single word last year. I think it all came off the top of my head. So I know that's bizarre and like, what in the world are you doing, Beau? But yeah, I think that's just the way it works. I can look at it and sort of do it.
And you have, are there any double takes or no? It's straight through most of the time now since you're
It's
so.
straight. So here, I'll tell you the truth. Here's how it works. With the NBA, I have to do it all the way through. With the NBL, the Australian Basketball League that you were kind enough to mention at the top of this, I do play number 10, stop, send them play number 10. Play number 9, stop, send them play number 9. That's their method of work that they prefer. And so I'm adaptable. I can do it either way you want. But yeah, it's fine. And honestly, I do sort of enjoy the challenge of doing all 10 at once. Uh, in the past I've gotten to like number 1 and sort of messed up a line at the end, and I'm just like, so frustrated. But I'll start all over again. I won't do a pickup. I'll do the whole thing. So it is one take all the way through. But like I would say maybe not 90, but 85%. It's the first take. Sometimes I'll say like I'll see an 8 and it's really play 7, and I'll say coming in at number 8, and then I'll see it's number 7, and I'll be like, crap. So I got to stop again. I can't allow that mistake to live. But for the most part, I can get it. And the thing is, I also know that it's sort of rhyming line, recap of play, onto the next one. That's the way it's cut. So in my head, I know the rhythm too, and that helps a lot, man.
Right. What NBL? How did that come about? You,
It's funny. They saw my work with the NBA and DM'd me. Would I be interested in working with them? And I had to, go through Turner and say, yeah, can I do this? Or do you guys have any problem with this? Turner got in touch with the folks at the NBA, to my knowledge, and the NBA was like, yeah. And I think it's one of those things where the NBA is smart. They're like, look, if this thing is going out to other leagues around the world, it's probably a win for us too. So I have done that for 6 years now, maybe something like that. It's crazy how long I've been doing it for. And then, what's odd is that just regular people will out of the blue ask if I will do a top 10 for, I did a top 10 for a bar mitzvah this year. I
no
did
way.
yeah, I swear to God. Like I probably should be on that, what is it, Cameo or whatever. But then I'd be just doing, I'm afraid I'd be just doing top 10s all day, 7 of them a day, and I would just lose my mind. But yeah, luckily the NBA pays me enough so I don't have to do that. But, I think that, it's interesting what a fascination it is with that, and it hopefully comes across as I intend. It's basketball ice cream. It's just fun. That's all I hope for it to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's really community now. Like the Reddit's all over.
Yeah.
So you're
Oh yeah.
seeing that, right? Okay, that's funny to know
Oh.
that you're seeing.
Well, you know what? Like
Just hear about it.
I never knew this stuff. And then our producers, who are much younger and savvier than I am, were like, "Are you seeing this, Beau?" And so they started showing me this stuff, and then they started showing me the YouTube comments, and I was like, "This is ridiculous." I mean, like, just how does one person get such positive comments? And what it probably means is I'm due for a comeuppance. The internet's probably due to get angry at me for something or another. But I'll tell you, it's been a great ride whenever it ends. It's been a fantastic ride.
Give me a couple of your favorite lines throughout time. Some of the plays that also
I I
rhyme.
will tell you the one that I think made this entire franchise a hit. And it's my favorite one of all time. It's not the best one of all time. You'll probably recognize it because you'll probably recognize the song. But the Atlanta Hawks were seed playing in the playoffs, and they go to take on, I can't even remember who was the number one. I think it was the Indiana Pacers were the number one seed. Um, and so Mike Scott has this tremendous dunk to win the game, and the call was 8 seeds are psycho. They're liable to go Michael, take your pick. Jackson, Tyson, Mike Scott, game 6. And it just timed out perfectly where he just crushed it. And the Nat sound of the dunk sounded like the bass line in the song. And it was just, I remember coming out of the VO booth at our studios in Atlanta, and like the editors and producers were all like standing there looking at me like very pleased,
You know, you
like
just
very
know,
happy. Yeah. So like they were very, very happy with that. And so I knew then that internally people were really happy with the product. I know the NBA was always happy because the numbers when I do it tend to be a little better. So that's money. So there's value in it, but like that's the one line that will always stand out to me as the one that sort of made the thing.
right?
And changed the course of it forever.
What about have people always told you like about the distinct voice you had? Was that a thing in college, high school, and stuff?
um, what's funny is people do talk about my voice a lot. And I was hanging out with Deion Thompson at the former North Carolina basketball player at Summer League, and he's talking to me about my voice. And I said, I got to be honest with you, dude. It's the same voice that I order omelets in the morning with. It's not like anything it's just a normal thing to me. So when people say that, that's them saying it to me. Like imagine in 20 years, people are saying that to you, Alex. It's just your voice that you've lived with,
Yeah.
right? Like you don't know what to say. I'm sure it is at least distinct by at this point. People recognize my voice and associate it with the NBA, so I'm very thankful for that. But I didn't train for it to be good or anything like that. It's just it is what it is. And the other thing is that I've done some commercial voiceovers now. I did voiceovers for a seafood restaurant up in Seattle recently. And what's funny is like they want me to be a psycho lunatic with my hair on fire calling these games. They like that version of Beau. For the other place, it's got to be a little more controlled and a little more like this. And my voice fits very well, I think, for the job that I have. But maybe for some other stuff, perhaps not as well. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you ever consider like any other sports if you got the opportunity, football or baseball?
So when I was a little itty bitty kid, I told my parents I wanted to be a sportscaster. This is like 5 years old, and the NBA has always been my passion. It's always been the one thing that I wanted to do. You won't find many 5, 6, 7 year olds who have as specifically achieved their dream as I have. All those guys that are in the NBA, I assume they're in that group and they're a lot better off than I am. But like it's very specific. I wanted to be a sportscaster. I wanted to be an NBA broadcaster. That's what I am. So I feel just extraordinarily lucky. Now, would I do other stuff? Sure, and I've done other stuff. My first break was I was the host on TBS for the Atlanta Braves. So I'm like 28 years old and I'm on national TV hosting the Atlanta Braves. And if you saw a picture of me, you wouldn't even recognize me because I look like a little kid. Yeah, so I did baseball. I've done the NFL. I hosted the Atlanta Thrashers Intermission Report. I've done all the big four sports: baseball, NFL, NHL, and NBA. I've done arena football. I've done NASCAR. I've done the PGA. So yeah, I've done a bit of it all. Even like for years, I was the voice of NCAA March Madness, and then they went away from having a voice at all. But yeah, I did that too. So it's a ride, man. It really is. And I'm lucky. And you know, I'm not going to say no to any opportunity until I look at it. I got to look at it and see if it's worth it, because there may be something that interests me. There really may be.
And you got to kind of have a different tone and attitude for a different sport, like baseball compared to basketball. So,
Man, you're right.
right?
Yeah, you're right. Baseball's a slower thing. You're talking with your family in the living room, and now he's up to bat. Ball one. Do
Oh,
you
two
remember the
count.
time we had popcorn at the movie theater? Blah 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 blah. Where basketball is just end, 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 go, 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 go. And there are more highlight moments in basketball than there are in baseball. I remember the guy who sort of invented inside the NBA is a guy named Tim Kiley. And when I was very young, when I was doing that Braves game, the Brave stuff, he said, always remember to have room to go harder. Like, don't, if a guy hits a single, incredible single up the middle. No, don't go there. Save that for the grand slam that wins the game. So that was a valuable lesson that Tim Kiley taught me when I was younger. That makes a lot of sense if you really think about it. And, whether I obey it or not is debatable. But on a normal, Cleveland Milwaukee highlight in late January, I obey it. But on an NBA top 10, it's almost like a character at this point, where it's just a lunatic out there screaming about basketball.
Let me know if you can relate to it too. For me, I have little experience with calling sports games, broadcasting. I did a couple at my school at Chapman University,
Yep.
obviously at Summer League. But I think what makes it so fun for me and fulfilling is that I'm a sports junkie. I love sports, and just the fact that you're able to like spit your knowledge to the world and to the people listening just makes it so much fun. Like you're almost like sitting on the couch with your friends talking sports, right? Like that's what I love
It
about
is. It is exactly that, but it's also with the best staff in the world behind you, and you're wonderfully prepared and researched. And the idea is when you get that job and you sit in that position, you're the best person in the world to tell that story, because you've done the work, you've done the research, you understand the context. So you can tell that story, so all the work in advance is quietly done in a room where nobody else sees. But when you get out there and the lights go on and everything else, you get to be the one that gets to tell that story. So it's not just the fun of being a fan, and I'm with you. It is that. It really is that. But there's also, you earn your money in the preparation. I really think that. And if you can deliver, but you didn't prepare, then you're no good.
Yeah. Because I called a game with Sophia Jones, Mark Jones' daughter, which is a great
Yeah.
opportunity. And she had the same exact note cards and notes that Mark had for Summer League game, Raptors Warriors, and 2 pages information, like 2 sentences minimum about each player. And it's crazy the work that is put into like even a Summer League game, a Tuesday night Summer League game. It's a
I
lot
tell
of
you what, so Sophia's on top of it too. I mean, a lot of
good.
people,
She was great.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's going to have a lot of opportunities because she's talented. She understands, and I think one thing that people forget, like if you're the offspring of somebody who's in a good position like that, whether it's an announcer, a producer, director, whatever, um, you grow up around that business, so you understand it. And you see your parent doing the preparation, you see it's almost like an education that you didn't pay for. And I do think that's an advantage for people that doesn't get talked about at all, because there's the typical internet bitterness about like the advantages somebody had. But if people would have seen the preparation Sophia Jones did, the work she did, the thoughtfulness in all her questions, and her desire to be it came through. She was a perfectionist. I mean, she did a lot of stuff for us, and she was constantly good, constantly going, and constantly trying. So I'm looking for big things from her going forward.
It was a pleasure and honor to work with her. And she was definitely a perfectionist, you could say. I was saying before that I
Yeah.
the Cavs Nets semifinals game, and I was saying Amoni base, and during time I said it probably like 5 times. She's like, "It's Amani," just letting you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's funny.
Yeah, she'll know. I mean, she's on top of it. She really is.
Yep.
She really is. So that's to her credit.
I want to little changing topics a little bit. I was looking at your Twitter bio a couple days ago. It says blocked by Penny in a high school. What's that? What's that
Yes.
about?
Okay. It's no surprise to you, Alex, but Penny Hardaway was better than me at basketball.
No.
No, it was close, but yeah, it's probably him. But our team went to a camp in Tennessee, and I was a sophomore in high school, and we weren't very good, but we were trying. We were just a scrappy little team, and I don't know if you've done this, but you do like 4 or 5 games a day, and you're just going, going, and going. And so everybody knew that this freshman was the best player at the camp. And so the coach says, Beau, you're going to be guarding Hardaway. And I don't ever remember them calling him Penny at that point. I remember it being Anthony and only Anthony. So that was new to me later on. But I scored on him the first time down, but I was sort of on the left block, and I did like an old Dominique Wilkins head fake where I showed him the ball. And this is my most vivid memory. I remember he went for the fake, and I looked, and his socks were at my eye level. And I was like, I remember thinking, I've got to sort of shimmy under him to not hurt him or undercut him or anything like that. But I sort of went under and around and did the layup. And so the next trip down the court, I thought, well, I gave him a pump fake last time, so he's going to be sitting on that. I'm just going to go straight up. And so I caught the ball at almost free throw line, but like at the elbow. And I turned the other way and just shot. And it was like a shadow just swooped over me and just pow, loud pounding of leather. And I was sort of discombobulated and disoriented. And I remember in time, I look up and I see an alley-oop pass, and Penny's on the other end catching a dunk on the other end. And I was just like, man, this is I have no hope of being a pro player. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I can't even come close. Now, look, he's an all-time great, but it was a lesson in how good the greats really are. And it was a lot. I mean, look, it's a treasured memory for me, and I guarantee you Penny has no idea about it. Because he played in a million summer camp games, and he blocked a million kids, and he dunked a million times. So it's just another play to him, I'm sure.
I think every basketball player, who's played up to high school has that moment of like, all right, yeah, I'm not built for the pro level, or let's cut it here,
Yeah. I knew, I guess I thought I was pretty good, but nothing like that. And I thought I was pretty good. Nobody else thought I was pretty good. I thought I was pretty good. So it's just that's the way that sort of thing goes.
No footage of it. Is there any video or no?
Thank God, no. Thank God, no.
That's pulled up.
Yeah, we don't need that at all.
Are you? It's a little early maybe to start talking about it, but SBC is full goal for you next year if the chance comes again, or?
I mean, yeah, you take what comes your way. My main job is the NBA, so that is my first, second, third, and last commitment all the time. I've got a pool of SBC students that I talk to. I talk to several students a week and try to help them and counsel them in their career. And I've got some other people talking to me about, being involved in their educational stuff. So, I listen, like I said earlier, I listen to it all. But yeah, I've done SBC for 5 years now. And it's such a wonderful experience. And as long as that same group is in place, I would be interested in coming back for sure.
It's a great group of people, in terms of analytics side, scouting side. Obviously, you broadcast it. It was something cool to see. Be a part of for sure.
No, like it all starts with Larry Kuhn, and if none of this happens without him. Honestly, it just doesn't. The effort he puts in is immeasurable in making SBC happen.
It was my first summer league, and just the way that everything ran, coming from Albert and Warren to SBC, just it was amazing to see that 20 years has gone by and it's built up to this.
Yeah, it's a huge operation that everybody, I think Albert and Warren stressed this. It starts at the top, but it goes all the way down to the bottom, and it doesn't work unless everybody's pulling in the same direction.
Yep. I guess I have the basic version. I already talked to Beau about it, but there's 3 minutes left on the Zoom, and I'm just gonna go to a cold stop. It's a bummer that it does it, but Beau, I obviously I talked to you about it. I texted you about it that you really made an impact for me at Summer League. I truly mean it. It was, putting me to work, and the broadcast station, getting airtime, all that stuff. It really meant a lot. And now I'm out doing this podcast thing. I'm trying to only have like 5
Good for you
right now, but I just want to let you know, like, you were definitely a big help into that and impact. So thank you.
No, well, thank you. And honestly, and I this is not me patting you on the back. It doesn't happen. The SBC media and broadcast doesn't happen without you taking the initiative to take over that play-by-play station, because you saw how sort of it's a shoestring staff that we're running around, with like chickens with their head cut off, trying to get everything done. So you taking the initiative and taking the responsibility and taking that over really change the trajectory of the experience for the students, and that's all I care about. So thank you for that, and thank you for saying what you did. I really do appreciate it.
I wouldn't. It made the NBA Summer League experience so much better, and hopefully, we can do the same thing next year. We got a plan on it. So
line it up, man. Line it up.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, Beau, for joining. I know you're a busy guy. Season's about to start. We're off season now, but you need some rest, man, before things kick into gear.
Gotta rest these vocal cords, man. It's a long season, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on.
If you need a backup goatmentator, top 10 guy, I'm right here, Wilton, Connecticut.
You're throwing your hat in the ring. You're throwing it
in the ring. Throwing it out there.
Okay. All right. I'll pass it on to Turner Talent. I'll let them know you're ready.
I'll be there. Love it. Thank you, Beau.
Take care, buddy.